fascist USA! No Trump! No KKK, no 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 fascist USA!
if it is holy.
If I have any messages on my phone here. Laugh Out Loud from Cole Miller. No, I think I'm good.
Nazi stoners got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Nazi...
Holy, come on.
I need to go.
Street!
Let's roar here. Let's roar.
Black lives matter! 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 Black lives matter!
You're in my shot, Cole.
Tell McKelvey it's after me. Who's Fred? 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 Our street. 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 Our street! Our street! Our street!
There's a lot of stragglers back
We're
there.
going to keep going until it's dark, and then they're going to start
Still
breaking
like on the
windows.
bridge.
And we're going to have to
Like,
shut
they
them
gotta
down
tighten it up.
probably downtown. And that's the way Michael Rose is here. I haven't seen him. They all joined up.
City? Yeah. Stop whatever you want.
These Nazi scumbags got to go! Hey, hey! Hey, ho! These Nazi scumbags got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazi scumbags got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazi scumbags got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazi scumbags got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazi scumbags got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazi scumbags got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazi scumbags got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazi scumbags got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazi scumbags got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazi scumbags got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These Nazi scumbags got to go! Hey, hey!
as we can press.
This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what our street. Our street. Our street. Our street. Food 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 street. Our street. Our street.
Work overtime for the fourth day in a row.
No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA. 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 No Trump, no KKK, no fascist USA.
talk to him real quick.
Ryan, I'll wait for you.
want a toke? We got a joint going there.
Does the meter keep?
Whose streets? Our street. 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 punch a Nazi in the face. Every city, every state, punch a Nazi in the face. Every city, every state, punch a Nazi in the face. Every city, every state, punch a Nazi in the face. Every city, every state, punch a Nazi in the face. Every city, every state, punch a Nazi in the face. Every city, every state, punch a Nazi in the face. Every city, every state, punch a Nazi in the face. Every city, every state, punch a Nazi in the face. Every city, every fucking state.
Decking here while we're here, right? Yeah. The new decking?
That's a finished product?
I don't know.
Clap once if you can hear me. Clap once if you can
2-minute silence. 4.5 minutes signals the 4.5 hours that Michael Brown's dead body was laying on the ground. 4.5 minutes seems like a long time, but it's nothing like 4.5 hours that Michael Brown's dead body was laying on the ground. So in these 4.5 minutes, I need everybody to think about the victims, the casualties, the victims of what the victims of these bodies. I need complete silence for 4.5 minutes. Sometimes you gotta stand up to fascism and there's not gonna be 500 people, 1,000 people right next to you. Sometimes it's gonna be just you. Facebook posts aren't enough, bumper stickers aren't enough, Black Lives Matter signs are not enough. But the spirit that you had at this protest right here, you need to take with you when you go home. So we are going to march silently. This does if you want, but we're going to march silently back to Sanders Street. And I need everybody to go slowly. Make sure that you guys understand that we are keeping up. It's incredibly ableist because there are people here that are marching that are not of the same ability as you. There's people here on crutches that when you guys speed up, you're leaving your comrades behind. So we're going to set the pace right here, march slowly back to Sanders Street. Be behind the banner. Somebody starts to
He checked all his equipment and made sure his pack was tight. He had to sit and listen to those awful engines roar. You ain't gonna jump no more. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more. Zoom, 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 zoom. Is everybody happy? Cried the sergeant looking up. Our hero feebly answered yes, and then they stood him up. He jumped into the icy blast, his static line and hook, and he ain't gonna jump no more. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more. Zoom, 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 zoom. He counted long, he waited for the shock. He felt the wind, he felt the cold, he felt the awful drop. The silk from his reserve spilled out and wrapped around his legs, and he ain't gonna jump no more. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more. Zoom, 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 zoom. The riser swung around his neck, connectors cracked his dome. Suspension lines were tied in knots around his skinny bones. The canopy became his shroud, he hurtled to the ground, and he ain't gonna jump no more. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more. Zoom, 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 zoom. The days he lived and loved and laughed kept running through his mind. He thought about the girl back home, the one he left behind. He thought about the medicos and wondered what they'd find. And he ain't gonna jump no more. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. Glory, glory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more.
police responding to reports of shots fired to keep the community safe, also to apprehend quite possibly.
His blood went spurting high. His comrades, they were hurt to say a hell of a way to die. He lay there rolling round in the welter of his gore, and he ain't gonna jump no more. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. Gory, gory, what a hell of a way to die. He ain't gonna jump no more.
Don't let them do respond.
This is what they're going to see when they look at us if we do not keep moving. We need to keep moving because this is not who we are. This is not who we are. Keep moving. Keep moving. I know he says all keep moving. Let's keep moving.
Not what this protest is. This is not what this protest is. This is not what this protest is.
Has no power. That's why move in.
I gotta get to that guy.
Medical mission.
Keep it moving.
Eli! Watch yourself, Eli! Watch yourself!
Same for you.
Those two on the same side.
I don't know. Look, I thought they were.
I'm not sure what's going on. Is there somebody over there who likes Trump? Is that the deal that started? There's soldiers in. You're going to head straight to the truck, do you think?
Yeah. I mean, ideally.
It's already 9:10. cents. So
They might side things.
they might be around for a while.
Yeah, I think we just both sides. It could be a both sides anyway.
I mean, obviously we have plenty for cats.
Get out of here, Jerry! Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here! Jerry!
Remember that guy? Him with the bikes. Like he was like, oh, let's try to find out where the bikes get stolen from, and then he got assaulted another brother. Like, I think he just taking pictures. Yeah. That's the guy. Yeah, that's him.
Dude, who is this guy? Everybody go! No, yeah, don't stop moving, man. Don't stop moving. Keep going. Come to see here. Keep it moving!
Everyone that is standing around watching what's happening, I need you to
Go, please! Go! Go, please! Go! Go! Let's go! Keep moving! You're not busy! Banners, move on! The banners, move on! Let's move with the banner! The banner's ahead! Come on, guys! Move! Move with the banner! The banner's moved on! The banner's moved on!
disengage. We are choosing to disengage with them. We are continuing our march. Everyone, let's keep moving! Keep up with the marches on front! Stay together, stay tight!
There's no reason to stay here when we have comrades up front! Get a distance! We need to be closer up front! Everybody gets up to the front!
Which is kind of a surprise, but now that it's breaking down a little bit, I think we're trying to let people lift
No. No, it wasn't you. Maybe it was my photographer.
Maybe it was your photographer, because I heard one of you go out, and I was like standing behind you. Like it was like one of those rubber bean bags, or not bean bags, those little bitty. It's called an AK-303. It's just a little thing about this big.
Maybe, but like not. Maybe it just briefly hurt for a second. I don't remember. But there's so many. They're all so many. Yeah. Thank you. Alright, well, I think that about does it. A little bit of a ruckus there at the end, but nothing too serious. Pretty, extremely peaceful event for the last several hours. I'm going to sign off and throw together a story from 10 to 11, so be sure to tune in to KGW 11 and CW 10. Have a safe weekend, and enjoy that something event along with the sun on one day.
Down at the steps, guys, down at the steps.
Please make your way to the front. We are
law enforcement officers, no sign or direct sign of family members yet at this point.
Jeffrey Odell, the chief, he has been on the force for just 1 year. I know that this is going to be a difficult time for him dealing with this. Samantha, what are you gathering from those who have lived in Kissimmee, maybe those that have covered the city's Kissimmee Police Department? This is not the type of news that they're used to dealing with in Kissimmee. These are the first officers that have been shot and killed in some 24 years.
It's devastating for them, Greg. Earlier tonight, and initially after this first happened in the 10 o'clock hour, I was talking to a man who lives in Kissimmee. He was sending me information, and he told me he initially wasn't sure what was going on, but he said he saw more than 70, 75 law enforcement officer vehicles in Kissimmee. He saw he heard the ambulances, he heard the sirens, wanted to know more about what had happened, and then of course his information started to come in, and he did hear that 2 officers had been shot. Later learning that they died, it was devastating and not what people in this community wanted to hear tonight.
No, Sam, how difficult it was to get there because all of the roads were shut down. At some point we know that 192 is reopened, but how was it for you tonight navigating and actually getting there?
It really wasn't bad by the time that we got out here. We did just arrive here within the last 15 minutes or so. Traffic wasn't an issue. Really, there's just been a lot of confusion as to where we should be setting up tonight. But again, we have confirmed this is where that press conference will be taking place at some point, at least 15 minutes or now, if not longer than that.
Samantha Manning, we know we're going to go live too when the chief speaks. And we are now getting word that we have a witness who is on the phone with us, Lexi Nieves, who says that she was driving on Orange Blossom Trail, and she's going to tell us what she saw tonight driving by.
Lexi, what did you see and hear when you drove by? Again, we're attempting to make contact.
Trail?
Yeah, Lexi, go ahead and start over. Yeah, start over for us, Lexi, if you could. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. I was driving on Orange Blossom Trail going towards 192. I noticed that there was, like a ton of cops around the area, but I didn't think anything of it. When I stopped at a red light, I noticed that I stood there a little bit too long, and I realized that they kind of just held traffic there for a while, I guess, from what was going on. When I looked over to my left a couple minutes after I realized what was going on, I saw an ambulance with the doors wide open, and I can see that there was, the paramedics were attempting to resuscitate somebody. As the ambulance began to get crowded with people, they shut the doors. I saw a bunch of cops around with guns, and it looked to me as if it was like 80-plus police officers around, cops, fire trucks, ambulances, everything, helicopters. It was really, really sad.
So, Lexi, you actually saw the efforts to resuscitate one of those officers?
Yes, I did.
So difficult. And when you were there in your vehicle, did you have any idea of what was happening? Was traffic being slowed down, or were you being diverted? Did you have any idea what was going on?
I had no idea what was going on, but I thought it was bad when I saw them trying to resuscitate somebody. You know, I did, you know, cry a little bit because I was like, dang, I'm witnessing something unfolding right now. You know, real life. We don't realize what's going on around us. And I lived in Kissimmee my whole life, born and raised, so it was really sad to see something like that so close. I mean, the end was really close to me.
Lexi, if you could, for those, you said you lived there your whole life. We've tried to describe this area. How would you describe the area where the shooting happened? You grew up there. Is that an area that concerns you? Is that an area that you weren't concerned about traveling through?
Yeah, actually it is. I was born and raised in Kissimmee, in the same area that I live in right now. I live on Michigan Avenue. And McLaren Circle was really bad, that area. Nobody ever goes by there unless there's some kind of, you know, bad things going on. So it is something that I worry about. And when I do see helicopters flying around, I lock all the doors. And, you know, it is scary in that area. But Michigan's not so bad. But McLaren Circle is really, really bad.
I can hear it in your voice, Lexi, that this has affected you. How are you doing right now?
I mean, it's really sad. I can't stop thinking about it. I was going to go visit a friend, and that's what I've been talking about with them. You know, our girls' night turned into talking about something like this.
And now you know, Lexi, that 2 of Kissimmee's police departments, 2 men lost their lives tonight. When you hear that and what you witness, I'm sure you'll never forget it.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw what was going on, I had a feeling that a person wouldn't make it. It just, there was so much commotion, you can just kind of tell. So that's why I said, you know, I was crying in the car because I knew something just happened, like, right before me.
Lexi Nieves, an eyewitness. Thank you for being on with us. I know it was emotional talking with you. We're going to put you on hold so that you can continue to talk with our crews. You're the first person that we've been able to talk with who was there, saw it, a resident of Kissimmee, an area that, again, has concerned law enforcement, has made national news for some of the crime that has happened in that particular area. But, again, through it all, through all of the crime that may have happened in that McLaren Circle area, this has not happened before. This is not something in terms of shooting and killing of 2 law enforcement officers. Again, these are our 3rd and 4th officers killed in the line of duty just this past year here in Central Florida. We've also had canines die as well, and we don't want to discount that. But certainly the families of these folks will be dealing with some heavy hearts for a while, and the law enforcement family and the family, the bigger family here in Central Florida.
We do know that the chief is expected to brief the media in about 15 minutes. Again, a fluid situation. It could be a little bit longer. As Samantha Manning said, this is all happening at Osceola Regional Medical Center, where we believe one of those officers was taken. But as we heard from eyewitness Lexi Nieves, who we just spoke to over the phone, that she drove by, looked to her left, and she could see rescue crews trying to resuscitate, or they were working on that one officer. Again, live pictures right now from Sky Witness 9, where we had 3 scenes. We had the scene at Roscoe's Bar and Packaging on OBT, where yellow tape went up, crime scene tape went up. Don't know the reason behind that. Then we had the apartment complex where, tragically, this all happened earlier tonight. Those 2 police officers responding to a shots fired call. And that is when they were fired upon and losing their lives tonight. And then again, that command center where the chief will be holding a news conference in about 15 minutes to bring us the very latest.
Sky Witness 9 now flying over. We saw SWAT pull up here as well. We do know that there is one other person that is being sought right now. that may be involved in this shooting. As we zoom in here, right behind the black car, and there again, SWAT is out front of this apartment. We don't see any people moving around, but it does look right now as though SWAT is staged behind that vehicle there. It's difficult because it's dark to see. But again, we're at a very long distance away from this. It's not as though we're flying right over it, so I know that you may be saying to yourself that we need to back up, but the zoom lens on this camera can shoot so far that we are at a great distance away. And so when we zoom back, you'll get a better perspective of what is happening here. We're not imposing on their investigation, but just trying to show you tonight that they now have gone to that extra scene. These scenes, as they are playing out, are about a mile, maybe a mile and a half away from the hospital where that second officer was taken. We know one was flown to ORMC, one taken to Osceola Regional, which is where Chief O'Dell will meet with the media. But as we zoom in here, you get a better perspective on how far we are away from this apartment or this housing complex, multi-housing complex, and SWAT has arrived on this scene. This is the scene that we believe they are looking for that third person. 2 people are in custody. They are alive. They were apprehended, and they were taken alive.
And again, we also know that weapons, Greg, were found with the suspects involved in this shooting tonight. We do have got confirmation that weapons have been recovered. Again, as Greg said, 2 suspects alive, in custody. Right now, law enforcement looking for a possible third suspect, and they have to do this in darkness. They have nighttime working against them at this point, and
right.
and again, just makes their job even more difficult as we're just getting the 10-minute warning. I'm watching a monitor here in the studio, a live feed of where all the mics have set up, and I just saw that someone came out, tested the microphone. Now we're hearing that in 10 minutes the chief will be coming to give us the very latest on what happened tonight. Again, what we know is that 2 police officers no longer with us tonight, shot and killed in the line of duty. We're going to learn who they were, their names, family, married, children. Going to learn more about them. We do know that 1 officer was taken into Orlando Regional Medical Center. He is there. And we believe that that other officer, Greg, was taken to Osceola Regional.
Just dozens of police cars in this parking lot with law enforcement now standing at the ready. Some undercover cars there. We saw the big SWAT vehicle arrive here as well. They are staying at what appears to be some sort of a distance away from wherever they may breach or wherever they may believe that person is. I have covered scenes before on the ground that are similar to this in terms of mass police presence, and it is a wild scene. Many times you are hearing in the bullhorn, the magnified horn that maybe an officer has, that they're handheld or from a car, and maybe some of that is happening down below as well as they're trying to get someone to come out. But again, as we look here, you can see that this area is well surrounded, well fortified, as well as Kissimmee police look for one more person that they believe was involved in the shooting of one of their own. Let's go back live to Ty Russell. He has been covering this since the story broke at 9:30 tonight. Ty was one of the first reporters on scene, and Ty continues our coverage, our team coverage, which now is moving into the 12:30 hour. Ty, what else have you learned from your location?
Well, right now, like we've been talking about for the last 10 minutes, we are expecting to hear from the chief in about 5 to 10 minutes from now. I've been over here talking to the spokesperson for the city of Kissimmee, who, like I said in the last hit, even the mayor, city council people, they really just want to hear from the chief because they are grieving as well. The chief is expected to give us details about what exactly happened and also to help this community heal from this sort of situation. Right now, I am not too far away from one of the scenes. If you remember, at 11 o'clock, we are just about 2 football fields away from one of the scenes where we saw the yellow tape going up right off of OBT. It was a very fluid situation. Still right now, we can see, Tom, if you can pan up, I mean, the sheriff's office helicopters are still flying around here in this area. We are, again, just 2 football fields away from where we were at 11 o'clock, where that was such a tense situation where law enforcement told us to move live on television. And right now, they are still keeping us at a distance. As you can tell, I'm in the parking lot of a Staples at the first media staging area. And police still have a portion of Main Street blocked off. I'm near the corner of Vine and Main Streets, if you're familiar with this area, and police still have that portion of the street blocked off. We've been seeing some police cars travel back and forth along the street, but right now many law enforcement officers from multiple agencies are getting ready to hear from the Kissimmee police chief. And again, we have, I've seen Orlando, Orange County, FHP, St. Cloud, troopers. I mean, so many people are here helping out Kissimmee police who are going through so much right now. And obviously this community, these neighbors, business owners here going through a lot. People want to know whether they are safe, and they also want to know just about the 2 officers who were tragically killed today. Back to you, Martha and Greg.
All right, Ty, thank you. Ty Russell reporting live for us. Of course, Samantha Manning also is at the hospital. We'll talk with her in just a minute. And this is a live look at one of the apartment complexes. We also have crews, as I take a look at where we've dispatched crews who will be appearing soon with their coverage. We mentioned Osceola Regional Medical Center, Orlando Regional Medical Center as well, Plaza on Main Shopping Avenue. That's where Ty Russell is. We also have a crew right now at the Kissimmee Court Apartments on McLaren Circle in Kissimmee. That's where, again, we are focusing some of our coverage. So we have people fanned out all over Central Florida. We will stay with this breaking story, a story that started almost exactly now 3 hours ago, and it's still the pursuit, the hot pursuit of one more person. And you mentioned that the people that have been apprehended are still alive, and they did find weapons on them. And I can't help but look back to earlier this week, just a day ago, when Kissimmee Police was involved in helping with the Kicks for Guns, and they brought 60 guns off the street in Osceola County. They were very pleased with that. And then tonight, we have more gun violence. This gun violence not targeted originally at law enforcement, but law enforcement responding to shots fired. Ultimately, they were the ones that took the shots that were deadly.
And now, in the age of social media, we're able to get information so much quicker. And I have a woman who is messaging me right now, and she wants the accurate information to get out. And she says one of the officers was a veteran of 10 years. Both of the men she's telling me are husbands and fathers. So that is what we're learning right now.
All right, again, difficult as we start to paint the pictures of who these people were and who the people that did this to them were as well. But it's happened once again, folks, in our backyard. A major national story. The story now is trending nationally, that not far from the home of Mickey Mouse and Disney and all the happiness right here in Kissimmee, a gateway to many of those streets that take tourists and locals alike who work out at the attractions. This now is a story that has made national news. 2 more officers shot and killed, 2 more dead in our community. 2 were killed earlier in the Markeith Lloyd story, and now 2 tonight. That brings the death toll in the U.S. killed in the line of duty. We are now at 82 officers. These are the first killed in Kissimmee since 1993. But tonight, the deadliest police shooting in Kissimmee history happened at 9:30 tonight.
We want to go live right now to Samantha Manning, who is there at Osceola Regional, where we're expecting the chief of Kissimmee to speak to us any moment. Sam?
Hey, it's Ron. Hey, I'm at the hospital. I'm going to have 2 mics open with comments
on that to find out when that may happen. We do know it will be at some point tonight. I can tell you we've been out here for about the last half hour now. There are multiple law enforcement officers here assisting. There are deputies with the Osceola County Sheriff's Office as well as FHP troopers here, something that you wouldn't ordinarily see here at the hospital. We have seen multiple deputies with their guns drawn over on the other side of the hospital just as a precaution. They were here under a special circumstance, and I can tell you there's been an understandably somber tone among the officers and deputies and troopers who are now assisting here. We do have a number of questions that we'll be working to find out. We do know there are 2 suspects in custody.
Sam,
I'm sorry,
I'm going to interrupt you for a second.
Being told to hold.
Yeah, hold for a second, Sam. What you're saying is important. We have a number of microphones we're turning on and off with all of our crews across Central Florida covering this story. Let's have you start over with the new information that you've learned there at the hospital. Our viewers did not hear you clearly there, so please start over.
Sure, sorry about that, Greg. So we are still waiting to find out when exactly Chief O'Dell will be speaking. We are told he will be here tonight to give an update. FHP has told us that they'll be giving us a 5-minute warning once they do have an idea of what time that may happen. At this point, we don't know when exactly that will be, but we are still waiting to find that update. Now, there are still a lot of unanswered questions tonight. We will be working to find out whether they are pursuing any more suspects. We know there are 2 now in custody, and we will be working to find out more about the circumstances about what happened tonight. We know the 2 officers who had been shot and killed were responding to a shots fired call, and once the chief gets here, we'll be working to find out more about what led to that and the circumstances surrounding that. Now, I can tell you there are a lot of law enforcement officers out here tonight. We saw deputies with the Osceola County Sheriff's Office assisting. There are troopers with FHP, police officers out here as well, something you wouldn't ordinarily see here at the hospital. It was a special circumstance, but really all hands on deck, and it's really been a somber tone among the officers and deputies and troopers out here tonight after losing 2 of their own. Greg?
And you know, it was that way when we went to Angela at Orlando Regional Medical Center when they brought in that 1 officer. You could see it, you could feel it, and she said just from being outside, it was just eerie to be there.
Yeah, we have Sam Manning again. Sam Manning is there in Osceola, Angela Jacobs in Orange County. And we take a look right now at Sky Witness Line. Let's pull this screen full so we can get a better perspective. It's dark out, it's difficult, but this is the area that is surrounded right now after 2 officers were shot tonight. Again, Martha, some of the folks telling you that at least one of the officers is a family man, so the difficult job of telling their family, and it just sends shivers up your spine. She talked about, Samantha, about all law enforcement arriving there, and that will be not only for support in terms of safety, but also support in terms of emotion. I'm also getting this text now in from Shannon Butler, one of our reporters who is so keenly aware of police activity, and Shannon's texting me saying that police have said they're not going to lift the perimeter. They're not lifting the perimeter where Ty Russell is live until they make sure they have everyone in custody, and that is not the case right now. We're at the 5-minute mark, so it's 39 minutes past the hour of 12, and within the next 5 minutes we'll hear from police. Now, we do see some activity there happening next to one of the buildings with some police activity close to that building. If we pan up just a little bit, that unmarked car is moving, but along the side, we also saw some men and possibly women moving along the side of that building, and it looks as though some of these vehicles are now pulling out and moving. We do not know if that means they've made an arrest here or whether they have taken a good, thorough look in those apartments to decide that that is not where their suspect is, but there is some movement down below, Martha.
We can tell you again at this hour, 2 people are in custody, 2 suspects in custody. Weapons have been recovered in this deadly shooting. Officers possibly looking for a 3rd. That may be what this scene is. Again, Sky Witness 9 over the scene right now. We can tell you 5-minute warning, possibly 4 minutes at this point, where we are expecting to hear from the chief of Kissimmee Police, who will be at the staging area at Osceola Regional Medical Center right now, where we are set up. We are waiting to take this news conference live and bring it to you, where we will learn more about these officers and what happened on this deadly Friday night. Again, these are 2 officers who were simply responding, which is what they do every day, respond to calls. They were responding to a shots fired call, and that is when they were shot on the scene. Again, live pictures of an active scene right now with undercover vehicles as well as marked vehicles on the scene. We believe possibly looking for a 3rd suspect.
Got some new information. It's important to clarify this, Martha. You know, this is a breaking news story, so some of the information comes in, and I can tell you here is what we have just learned. This is new information that both of these officers who were shot were taken to Osceola Regional Medical Center. So the helicopter shot that we showed, which is where we thought the level 1 trauma drop-off was going to happen, was another patient. But what we do know now, this is now being confirmed, that both officers were taken to Osceola Regional Medical Center, where again they succumbed to their injuries. This is a live look to the right of that emergency and trauma center, or actually some video that we're showing. Let's take this full. I think it's important to show this just as clear as we can to our viewers so they don't have to go back and forth between us and what's happening there. So take that shot full if we could. And this is outside the regional Medical Center there in Osceola County. If we could take that full, that would be great. But these are some of the men that are waiting outside, and there you go. There's a better look at those law enforcers at Osceola Regional Medical Center outside of the emergency department. And again, the sad look on their faces may not be evident, but certainly on the inside, it's difficult. Just looked at the Twitter feed from Kissimmee Police, and this came our way 3 minutes ago that they were at the 5-minute mark. So if following that timeline, we're just moments away from hearing from Chief O'Dell, his media briefing, and all the official information about the incident communicated on the Twitter feed until the chief talks, and he's going to talk momentarily. I mentioned it earlier, Martha. It bears repeating that Chief O'Dell, who was with OPD for 30 years, at one time served as the deputy police chief in Orlando, moved to Kissimmee upon retirement, and 1 year ago, almost exactly 1 year ago, Chief O'Dell took the reins at Kissimmee. And now we're looking as we move in, and there is a plainclothes individual with shorts that is communicating with others outside. So a difficult time, and we are watching it again unfold live right here on Channel 9.
You know, they talk about being in law enforcement that it's a brotherhood, and they're all connected. A very tough night for law enforcement, not only here, but to the north of us. 2 officers shot in Jacksonville. We do not know their conditions at this point. And then up in Pennsylvania, 2 state troopers were shot as well. A difficult, dangerous, and for us here in Central Florida, deadly night for the men and women who patrol our streets and keep us safe. Again, live pictures right now where we are expecting in a matter of minutes at this point, the chief of Kissimmee Police to speak with us. Chief Jeff O'Dell will be bringing us any information that he feels we need to know. He's going to probably tell us about these men who were shot and killed tonight, maybe update us on the suspects and possibly the 3rd suspect that they are looking for. But again, live pictures right now as we stand by and we wait. Within minutes, we should be getting that news conference from the chief.
What a Friday to have at 9:30 tonight, all of a sudden hear the words that everyone hates to hear over police radio, that officer down. And it's not just officer, it's two officers responding to a shooting there in what is a well-known area of trouble, of violence, of what was so troubled many years ago that it made national news, as I mentioned earlier, and I will repeat it because it does put things in perspective, that even the United States Postal Service would not go into that community. But tonight in that general area, and what we're seeing there, we just saw somebody escorted in with an arm around them. We don't know, of course, the relation there, but certainly there was some emotion as they traveled into the emergency room. I don't want to speculate here, but we're trying to bring you the full coverage because of the impact that this has made on our community and the safety factor here as well, because one person still has not been arrested.
And ironically, you brought this up, that yesterday was the gun weapon
kick for guns
buyback, where anyone in the community who had a weapon, no questions asked, you could turn it in and receive a gift card. And then 24 hours later, this has happened in Kissimmee, where officers responding to a call, doing their jobs, and they were shot and killed in the line of duty tonight. Again, live pictures of Osceola Regional Medical while we await for the chief to come out and give us the very latest. We saw Sky Witness 9 moments ago on another scene. Unmarked cars, marked cars actively going, slowly, methodically going and searching what looked like for possibly that 3rd suspect.
It is now 12:45. The shooting happened again at 9:30 tonight. Osceola Regional Medical Centers, where both officers who were shot after responding to shots fired were taken. We had been earlier reporting. The indication was that one was flown to the Level 1 Trauma Center. We have now confirmed that they instead were taken both to the Osceola Regional Medical Center, where they did not make it. Again, as we pan up and pan down, you're seeing that there's still lots of law enforcement activity down below in this area, and you can see just how close that the scene by the apartment that we're going to zoom into. Just moments ago, we showed you this scene was surrounded by dozens of police cars, and now it appears that it is all but clear, with a handful of officers still in the streets. Many of the vehicles now are gone. The flashing lights have been turned off, and this area appears to have been cleared, and the officers now moving from this area quite possibly to another one. So it is certainly worth assuming, with the officer the suspect still out there, that this was something that turned up empty. So we'll continue to follow this. We'll continue to work our sources. We can tell you that the police chief was supposed to have already met with the media, and that 5-minute window has come and gone. And so we are still awaiting that happening. Below you see lots of police. There is the staging area as well, and this is the scene of that deadly shooting.
A difficult night. Obviously, he has to talk to the families of the men who lost their lives and speak with them, console them, be with them. But also he's got to worry about his officers on the streets now, searching when they were searching for those suspects, and worry about their safety. So just a lot for this department to process on this night as we wait for them to come to the microphone and to give us an update. You're looking at live pictures from Sky Witness 9 of the several scenes that we've been over tonight. Again, this all began at 9:30 with 2 officers responding to a call, and that is when they were shots were fired at them. Both officers, we are now learning, were brought to Osceola, the Regional Medical Center, after they were injured. That's where both of them were brought, and that is where we're going to be hearing from the chief at any moment at this point, where we are ready to go as soon as they get to the microphone.
Live look right now of this scene of all of the officers gathered around. We've been following this throughout the night. We have reporters fanned out across Kissimmee, Osceola County, and learning as much as we can about who they're looking for, who the people were that were involved, and who the people that were brought in, whether or not an arrest or arrests have been made, or whether they have just been brought in for questioning. We do know that they are at least in police custody, 2, and a 3rd likely still out there. Weapons were found, and Chief Jeff Odell will lay all of this out for us. Killed in the line of duty in Kissimmee. In terms of the numbers, I did a quick research on that. We in the state of Florida have lost 804, now 806 total officers, 416 of those by gunfire, 80 in the United States this year already. Add 2 tonight, we're at 82. So 4 of the 82 from Central Florida, more than our share. 1 in every 20 police officers so far killed this year, killed here in Central Florida. That is a chilling reminder on how dangerous at times Central Florida can be for law enforcement. We have not had the rallies against that you've seen in some communities, but we have had 4 officers killed in the line of duty this year, 2 by gunfire, 3 by gunfire now, 1 a motorcycle deputy, Norman Lewis. They were just, and another piece of irony here, as we will honor these 2 officers in the days and weeks ahead. This past week, we have also honored Norman Lewis with the naming of a highway, and Deborah Clayton with the naming of a road as well. And so they have been in our thoughts and minds since their deaths, and now these officers and their families and their situation in our thoughts and prayers as well. And we'll honor them in the days that lie ahead. But right now we are trying to figure out exactly what happened as police descended on this popular area of 192 in Kissimmee at 9:30 tonight, Martha.
And why would someone shoot these officers? Why would they fire at them? Those are the questions that remain unanswered at this point. Just awful tonight for us here locally. Jacksonville tonight, 2 other officers shot. In Pennsylvania, 2 officers shot. Okay, we want to go live right now to our Michael Lepardi. Michael, you are live near the Staples, I understand. What can you tell us from where you are?
Hey, Martha, we're just a few feet away from there, actually. We're at the intersection of OBT and US 192. I want to look down that way to show you just that heavy law enforcement presence that we've been talking about all evening. You can see all the flashing lights down there. I've seen cars going in all directions from law enforcement tonight, so it's tough to get a clear picture as to where they're headed. We were just at Kissimmee Police Headquarters just a few minutes ago. Eerily quiet there tonight. There were a few cars going in and out, but it is quiet in that area of the city. Above us, you might even be able to hear the helicopters humming above. This has been the scene throughout the evening. US 192, of course, typically a busy area this time of night, but just to see this is something unreal for a lot of these neighbors and residents out here. We are waiting for that news conference to start any minute. I saw Kissimmee Police tweet not too long ago. They were expecting the chief to take the podium soon, and we're going to send it back to you right now.
Let's go. Michael, excuse me, we're going to go live to the hospital right now. Let's listen in. This is Chief Jeff Odell of Kissimmee Police. Lost 2 officers tonight. Here is the Chief of Police.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It breaks my heart to have to come speak to you tonight about another senseless tragedy, one that's resulted in the death of one of our police officers and a grave critical situation of another. This evening, Sergeant Sam Howard, a 10-year veteran of the Kissimmee Police Department, and Officer Matthew Baxter, a 3-year veteran of the Kissimmee Police Department, checked out with suspicious persons in the area of Palmway and Cypress in the city limits of Kissimmee. That was at approximately 9:27 this evening. At approximately 9:32, we received our first 911 phone call to our comm center indicating that the police officers were shot. Officers immediately responded to the area and found 2 of their fallen brothers gravely injured on the roadway. They immediately began first aid measures, called for rescue personnel. Both were transported to the hospital. I can inform you that Officer Matthew Baxter has succumbed to his injuries tonight. Sergeant Sam Howard is in grave critical condition, and the prognosis does not look good. At this point, I'd ask you to please keep the men and women of the Kissimmee Police Department, the families of the fallen officers, the law enforcement personnel in the Central Florida area in your thoughts and prayers. This is a tough time for each one of us. I'm very appreciative of our Central Florida partners, the Osceola County Sheriff's Office, St. Cloud Police Department, the Orlando Police Department, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Federal Bureau of Investigation. They immediately responded to the scene tonight, gave us unlimited access to their resources. At this time, we have a strong suspect in custody that we are interviewing. We have 2 of the 3 persons that the officers checked out with in custody. We're still looking for the 3rd. I cannot divulge any more information on that as it is an ongoing investigation. At that point, I'd open it up for a couple of questions with the caveat that this is an ongoing investigation, so I will not be able to answer any questions specific to the investigation.
Is there First of all, I'll say I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Really, it's just a horrific night all around. You said 2 of the 3 suspects that you checked out are in custody, so that includes the 1 strong suspect?
We have the officers checked out with 3 individuals, and we have a 4th that we suspect of being involved in injuring the officers. That person is in custody, and 2 of the 3 that they originally checked out with are in custody.
The suspects in custody, did they have any firearms and weapons on them, and have they divulged any information at this point to investigators?
At this point, I would just tell you that they're very strong. He's a very strong suspect in this case, and I can't really speak to the particulars of what he may or may not have been in possession of.
Chief, were the officers able to return fire at all?
No, sir. At this point, it does not look like they were able to. It looked like they were surprised.
What was the original incident?
Just checked out with persons in the area. This is an area where we do have some drug activity, so officers being proactive and maintaining their presence in the neighborhood to make sure that the residents are safe. So these gentlemen were out in the street area, and so they just checked out with them.
Chief, would you consider what happened to your officers an ambush?
I'm sorry?
Would you consider what happened to the officers an ambush? Were they ambushed?
It's probably too early at this time, but it's leading that way.
Chief, could you clarify which hospital each officer was at? Was here in Osceola region?
Both officers are here, as well as their families.
Were these officers uniformed officers, or were they undercover?
Yes, ma'am. Both in full Kissimmee Police uniform.
Now, a lot of police activity at the Bronx goes far as what we're hearing. Any connection, or can you say a little bit more, connect the dots for us?
Again, I know that we encountered one of the subjects that I spoke about in that area. I cannot speak to which of the persons that we are talking to now is located there.
Chief, it's such a tragedy what had happened for the entire community, of course. Can you weigh in a little bit at all about the families of these officers? Are they fathers? Are they husbands?
Absolutely. Both are husbands. Both are fathers. I just left the hospital with our chaplains, a number of our personnel, a number of our elected officials, city manager, deputy city manager, all here in support of the families. Right now, as you can imagine, they are completely heartbroken, devastated. These were beloved fathers and husbands and sons, and so we are doing everything in our power to support them, the families, and get them through this time.
How are your fellow officers doing?
It's tough. I'll be honest with you. You know, although we're aware of what goes on, you know, in law enforcement across the nation, we haven't experienced this in over 25 years, and you know, they prepare for it, we train for it, but you know, nothing compares to what they're going through right now.
Speaking of what goes on around the country, so this happened here. 2 officers shot up in Jacksonville, and getting word 2 officers shot in Pennsylvania. Just an awful night. What are your thoughts on that?
It is. It's tragic. I don't know any of the details. I hadn't heard about Pennsylvania. I was aware of the information coming out of Jacksonville beyond 2 officers being shot. I don't have any more particulars, but it's, you know, it's a tough time in law enforcement. You know, we are here to protect and serve, and you know, this is getting tough. It's getting tough to do the job that we've all sworn to protect and uphold and maintain livable neighborhoods, keep people safe, and you know, these senseless acts are going on. This was just what appears to be a consensual encounter, a get out, check. Nobody was being placed in handcuffs. Just check on you. Do you belong in the area? Do you live here? If you know, if all things check out, the officers would have been on their way. But they're committed to this area, and you know, we get a number of calls from the citizens that live in that North Kissimmee area, and we got a lot of great community members there, and you know, they get tired of putting up with some of the drug dealing and nonsense that goes on in the neighborhood, and we're doing our part to try to keep them safe, and then we have this tonight.
Chief, were the officers wearing body armor?
Yes, sir.
Chief, we understand one of the officers was also married to another Kissimmee police officer?
Yes, sir.
He or she doing okay? The spouse doing?
As you know, it's again devastating for her and her family, and they have 3 young children.
Chief, I know that you're in pursuit of a 4th person at this time. Is there a public safety concern, a threat to the community at this time?
Not at this time. I mean, you know, obviously this 3rd person we think was just in the original group and potentially a witness at this point. So we feel like we, again, have a strong suspect in custody, and this 4th person, I guess, we feel like may have information as to what happened.
Is it looking like a strong suspect, or one person shot both officers?
Again, I'm not positive. It would indicate that right now we have one shooter.
Any indication of what kind of firearm was used?
Not at this time, no, sir. All right, well, thank you very much. And again, please keep the men and women in law enforcement, as well as the family members tonight that are suffering from this tragedy, in your thoughts and prayers. And if anyone out there has information about what happened tonight that can lead to the apprehension or the conviction of the subject responsible, we'd appreciate your call and your information. Thank you.
Chief, I do have one more question.
One last time, so we don't mess these up.
Sam?
I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Sam Howard, SAMHOWARD, in grave critical condition. Matthew, MATTHEW, Baxter, BAXTER, is deceased.
Which is the officer that
they can't get home. A lot of these streets shut down. We're seeing a lot of work by Osceola County and by Kissimmee PD over here, trying to get as many of these streets shut down, trying to get everyone pushed back, get drivers sent where they need to go, because right now what they're doing, they need everybody moved down. In fact, they've come over a couple of times and told us to push further back, and we've complied with that and tried to get us back as far as we can. So we'll keep you updated, Greg and Martha, as anything else develops here.
Okay, thanks, Chris. And you alluded to this, but we're hearing from someone who works there is that one of those suspects went into Roscoe's, as you said, try to mingle in, and actually saw a weapon. And that's when the owner was notified, and that's when the police came. That is what we're hearing from someone who works at Roscoe's.
Could have been very easily. Again, you heard the police chief. Thank you, Chris. We're going to continue to keep Chris on the scene. We'll have much more coverage tonight at 5. I want to show you the President of the United States tweeted out moments ago, and I want to show you what he tweeted out. Again, the entire country is now fully aware of what is happening in, our own backyard. My thoughts and prayers are with the Kissimmee police and their loved ones. We are with you. And the hashtag is law enforcement social media there from President Trump. We are with you tonight, as is all of Central Florida. I can't help but think of the families of those children of, again, we know of one deceased officer who was married, Matthew Baxter, married to a member of the Kissimmee Police Force. He'd only been on the force for 3 years, and tonight in grave critical condition. It does not look good for Officer Sam Howard, a 10-year veteran of the Kissimmee Police Department.
The chief said if you pray for the officers involved, pray for the family.
Now in custody. They believe that that is the person that pulled the trigger. A third person may be a witness still out there. We have crews fanned all across Central Florida. We'll pull this all together for you and provide you with full coverage beginning on Eyewitness News at 5 o'clock. But again, tonight, as maybe you're going to bed, time now to pray for those families. Just so sad when I think about those members of law enforcement out walking back through the door tonight. We'll have full coverage.
Thought they'd be coming home.
We'll have full coverage of this terrible story and law enforcement losing 2 more in our own backyard. Good night.
So I'm at church. I feel this nice little tap on my shoulder, and the brother behind me.
The information that they give, they'll give you what they know for sure as it stands right now. And
we're in the middle of the intersection with the Family Dollars right here. And it kind of actually has kind of like a different angle of the sign, so they can kind of zoom further down.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Turn my mic up, buddy. Okay, can you guys hear? Yeah, but here's the thing. I have no IFB, no off here. You can't ask me a question. I don't even know what the reporters are saying right now. So I have very little intel, but I'll talk about it.
I'm here on the west side where 2 officers have been shot. We also just found out that 1 suspect involved in this shooting is dead. Now, the intersection of Seaboard and Timaquano Road here on the west side is completely blocked off. The JSO Mobile Command Center has just arrived here as well. Now, a lot is going on. Several JSO cars, ATF officers are here in crime scene plates surrounding this area. So we will continue to stay out here and provide you with the latest information. For CBS 47 Fox 30 Action News Jackson, I'm Larry Spurl, News 104.5 WOKV.
Rescue 43 into 43, Delta response, chest pain, 1650, South Point Boulevard, Gatorade plant. Tag 30113.
Why don't you go get briefs so you can give us the briefing?
Nah, they rather hear from the uniform. Be interested to see if William show up and do it.
One is in critical condition, another is in stable condition. As soon as we know how they're doing, we'll make sure to update you guys as well. Again, there's people reaching out to me on Twitter that are curious and they're wondering if, you know, if their family members are the ones involved in this shooting. Of course, they're praying and they're sending their thoughts to the JSO family here in Jacksonville, as well as those officers in Orlando who were also shot tonight. So a very sad night for JSO and for police officers in general. It's just really hard to do stories like this where, you know, police officers who, as you mentioned, Anthony, are keeping us safe and, you know, are being shot, the ones being shot at. And so, like I said, I'm going to be vigilant on my Twitter for any updates from JSO. We are still on the scene. I spoke to several witnesses who, you know, are telling me different things. Some who heard 7 to 8 shots, others who saw ambulances and patrol cars speeding through to get to the scene. A man I spoke with telling me that police might have been serving a warrant. We are unsure exactly what happened, what led to that shooting earlier this evening. But that is what we're hearing from witnesses. Another person I spoke with says that there could have been more people involved. But so far, we know the 2 officers that were shot and the suspect who was shot and killed and died at the hospital. So we're going to send it back to you guys in the studio for now. And as soon as we have that media briefing, I will make sure to have that live on Facebook and update you guys on Twitter as well.
All right, Hani, thank you for continuing to keep us updated out there from the scene. So we are expecting that briefing to happen in about 15 minutes. We are going to stay on the air and bring you that briefing as soon as it happens, involving those 2 JSO officers who were shot over on the west side. This happened sometime around 11. We know that 1 officer is said to be in critical condition. 1 officer is said to be stable. And there have now been 7 police-involved shootings, and 6 of those fatal in our area this year. And I believe this is actually the 3rd officer shot. We had an officer that was shot in the face during a bank robbery, and then we have these 2 officers who have now been shot. I know President Trump is actually tweeting right now about the situation that is happening in Kissimmee. That's separate from what's happening here in Jacksonville. We know in Kissimmee that 1 officer was shot and killed, and 1 officer is said to be in grave critical condition. But the president is saying right now that my thoughts and prayers are with the Kissimmee police and their loved ones. We are with you. Hashtag LESM. So once again, a horrible, tragic night here in our state. A total of 4 officers shot over in Kissimmee near Orlando. In that situation, you have 1 officer who was shot and killed, 1 officer who is fighting for their life at this time, and they have 3 or 4 suspects in custody out there. 1 is still on the loose, and they are searching for that suspect. Then here at home, what we know in our situation is that 1 officer is in critical condition and 1 officer is stable, and we know the suspect has died at the hospital. The suspect was killed here in Jacksonville. So once again, our Honey Rodriguez, she's been working hard tonight. As soon as we found out what happened, she went out there to the scene on the west side, and she's been talking to people. Let's hear some more of the interviews that she did out there.
We're at Wendy's and we're at the drive-thru, and we just see like 5 or 6 cops just like speeding down, just like real fast, and then like 2 more ambulances just come down, and we just don't know what's going on. We're just like, okay, maybe something happened, an accident. And then, you know, we started driving down to come home, and there's even more cops just swarming the street. So it's crazy how this is happening in our neighborhood, you know. People decide to shoot cops. It's like, this makes sense. They're protecting us and stuff like that. And, you know, for us to be on the streets, you know, safely. But, you know, people shooting back, it's just, you know, it's not safe out here.
This is UF Health that we're looking at. You can see a police officer there. We're told quite a few police officers are there at the scene of the hospital. This is normally where officers are taken when they are injured. And once again, we are learning that 1 officer is in critical condition. 1 officer is said to be stable in a shooting that happened at the west side around 11 o'clock tonight. The suspect involved in this situation was killed. So the suspect died at the hospital. The suspect was killed. But once again, those 2 officers, 1 is critical and 1 is said to be stable. So we are still trying to learn more information for you about exactly what happened. We're hoping to get that information for you in about 10 minutes. JSO telling us that they are going to have an update, have a press conference held at 1:30 in the area where the shooting happened to let us know exactly what happened out there. But just kind of taking some look at some information that we have right now. There have now been 7 police-involved shootings, and 6 of those fatal. And so we are just continuing to gather the latest for you. I believe this is the 3rd officer who has been shot this year here in Jacksonville. We had 1 who was shot in the face during a bank robbery not too long ago, and then we have these 2 officers shot here. Just a horrible way to start the weekend. This is not the news we want to report. Of course, we have much respect for our law enforcement to have to talk about something like this is just horrible. We're going to go back to that scene in Kissimmee. This is near Orlando, where we've been following information out there. We know 3 suspects are in custody out there involved in that shooting, and that 1 is also on the loose. They are continuing to search for those suspects out there. We just listened to a press conference with the chief of police for Kissimmee. He's saying basically it's hard to do his job these days because they have to worry about their lives. And it's a horrible situation to have happen in our state, to have a total of 4 police officers shot just within a matter of hours. And so once again, this is the information we're getting from Kissimmee Police. This is the Twitter page. It said that Officer Matthew Baxter, that's one officer I told you about, he has died from his injuries. Officer Sam Howard, he is in very grave condition. So just to make this clear once again, this is Kissimmee. This is near Orlando. These are not the Jacksonville officers, but this is the situation that happened in Kissimmee. So we're getting the latest information out there. But basically, we know that 1 officer was killed, another in grave condition after what authorities said was an ambush-style shooting, actually, that happened tonight. Police Chief Jeffrey Odell, he said Officer Sam Howard and Officer Matthew Baxter were shot when they responded to a call in the area of Palmway and Cypress Streets shortly before 9:30 tonight. They say Baxter, he's a 3-year veteran of the department. He's been pronounced dead, and Howard was the 10-year veteran. He's the one who is in grave condition. Now, police say they were called to the area to investigate a suspicious situation out there in Kissimmee. And as the officers arrived and began speaking with 3 people, a 4th person emerged and fired at police. That's according to authorities. So they say 3 people are in custody, but another person remains at large. Kissimmee Police says it's been 25 years since an officer died in the line of duty. So see that heavy police presence out there. This is video out of Kissimmee. Once again, this is not Jacksonville. This is the situation that happened in Kissimmee near Orlando. And President Donald Trump tweeting early this morning about that, saying that his thoughts and prayers are with Kissimmee Police and their loved ones. I understand that one of those officers actually married to another officer out there. In Central Florida's law enforcement agencies, they have taken to social media to extend their thoughts and prayers to the Kissimmee Police Department at this time. But back here at home, here in Jacksonville, this is a situation that we are continuing to watch with our own 2 officers shot over on the west side today, but we don't know exactly what happened in the situation. We're hearing different things, and we're hoping to get that cleared up for you in just a few minutes when JSO gives us an update on those officers who were shot. The suspect is dead. That suspect died at the hospital. You're taking a look right now at UF Health. You can see a JSO patrol car there on scene, but one of those officers in critical condition. One officer said to be stable. JSO asking for your prayers tonight. As you can imagine, if you know someone who's in law enforcement, if you know a family member, of course, you would want your thoughts and prayers at this time, because we are all a community, and these are the men and women who protect and serve us. So I'm getting an update right now about Melissa Bujeda. She is the spokesperson for JSO. She says it'll be about another 7 minutes when we're going to have that press conference and get the latest information for you. Our Honey Rodriguez is there, so we're going to bring that to you on air. Time right now about 1:23 in the morning. So Melissa Bujeda, you see her right there. She's getting everything set up for us so they can give us an update on this situation. But once again, this information came in to us, I would say probably not too long after our 11 o'clock newscast ended. We saw the tweets there from JSO, and as soon as we found out what was happening there, our newsroom instantly went into action to try to get as much information as we could, and we got on the air to make sure that we keep you updated on this horrible, horrible situation. So we don't know exactly what the officers were responding.
Can you give dispatch a phone call, please?
not able to talk.
Where's Melissa at? Okay. Good. Everybody ready? Good.
Good.
All righty. Last night, just before 11 p.m., officers were dispatched to the 5100 block of Seaboard Avenue. Officers were dispatched to an attempted suicide call where there were 3 additional victims inside of the house that had retreated to a back bedroom for their safety. While the officers were en route, the suspect armed himself with a high-powered rifle. Approximately 4 to 5 officers responded to the house, and as they arrived on the scene, they could hear gunfire coming from the house. The officers formed up a contact team and approached the house and were going to attempt to make entry because they believed they had an active shooter type incident in the house with the additional victims that were in there. As the officers approached the house and attempted to enter one of the doorways, the suspect began shooting through the door at the officers. The suspect advanced on the officers and exited the house. There was an exchange of gunfire between the officers and the suspect to where the suspect was struck with bullets and stopped advancing on the officers. During that exchange of gunfire, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office had 2 officers that were struck by bullets. One officer was struck in both of his hands, his left and right hand. Another officer was struck in his stomach with the rifle round. The suspect and the 2 officers were transported from the scene. The 3 victims that were inside of the house are all safe. We are continuing to interview the witnesses from inside of the house, the officers that were at the scene. A lot of work still to do, so I don't have some specific details that I'd like to provide, but we'll do that in a follow-up a little later today. But, you know, we often talk about the inherent dangers of police work, but tonight those dangers were all too real for these officers. As I said, as they were approaching the house, they knew that this was a rifle that the individual was shooting, and they knew that they were staring danger in the face. And yet they moved forward to meet their commitment that they held and that they swore to take to this community. So we ask that you keep these officers and their families in your prayers. All 3 of the individuals, the suspect and the 2 officers, have serious injuries. So we ask that you keep them in your prayers as they go through the healing process. With that, I'll take any questions.
We heard the suspect was deceased at hospital.
I don't have that updated information. If that's the case, then we'll update that as we go.
You guys tweeted, so.
Okay, then that's fine.
Just for
the 3 victims that were
saying
inside.
that the officers, they were shot when he fired his rifle, that was through the door while they were on the other side.
He engaged the officers before they made entry into the house.
The 3 victims. So the suspect, do we know who made the suicide call initially?
One of the individuals inside of the house was providing us with updated information. So, and we're still sorting through some of that. Like I said, we're still interviewing those witnesses, but that was providing us with a little bit of updated information as the officers were responding to the area.
Was he harming those victims, those 3 people inside, or attempted to harm them?
Well, they retreated to the bedroom for their safety. They obviously there was an exchange of words or something that made them feel in fear for their life. That's why they retreated. That's also why they called the sheriff's office to respond to get the help that they needed.
Officers' names being released tonight?
No.
The shooting that the officers heard before they approached the house, were those shots towards the victims in the house or towards the officers?
We don't know that yet. We're still working through that. The officers, the house is set back from the roadway quite a bit. So
Prior to the officers arriving at the scene, did they know that the suspect was armed?
yes, we received that in updated information as the officers were responding that he armed himself with a rifle.
Any possibility of releasing the 911 tapes?
Like I said, it's still early in the investigation, so as we can release information, it's still very active and very fluid. So I think it's early to see what we can release or what we can't. But as we can release stuff, we will.
Were the 3 other people in the house, were they injured at all?
No, sir. No, sir. And really, I spoke about it, but the officers' actions and quick actions, because like I said, we thought we had an active shooter type incident, so they formed up a contact team and moved towards the house, because any delay there certainly puts them in greater danger.
Can you talk about the night this has been for law enforcement? Because not just here, we're also hearing about the officers that were shot down in Kissimmee, and I believe another officer may have been shot in another state tonight. It's been a very bloody night for officers.
Well, and any time that an officer is injured in the line of duty, it's tough. And this case is even tougher. I mean, these are serious injuries, and these are people that we work with day in, day out, and they are sworn, they have a commitment to the community, and tonight they held fast to that commitment. And like I said, they knew as they were approaching that house the seriousness of this and didn't flinch.
Do we know what the type of rifle that the suspect had?
It's a high-powered rifle. I don't want to go into the details of it. I haven't seen it specifically, so I'd prefer to wait and release that information at more time.
And again, sir, to confirm, the tweets did indicate suspect dead, 1 officer critical, 1 officer injured. Can you confirm what the tweets from JSO have been telling us for the past hour?
Yes, yes. Okay. The suspect is deceased.
Have police been at that house before?
I don't know the call history for that resident, so I can't speak to that.
How long did it take this whole scene to unfold?
The initial call came in about 10:50, and the shooting was reported about 10:59.
Any other questions?
Yes. Was the officers wearing body cameras?
I don't know that information right now.
Was the SWAT team en route after the call?
It had unfolded so dynamic, and like I said, we had an active shooter, or we felt we had an active shooter type incident, so we formed the contact team, which is consistent with the training of those officers, because any type of extended delay could result in further loss of life. So they formed a contact team and moved forward.
How many members in the contact team? How many officers?
It was 4 to 5 officers in the contact team.
Any more updates tonight?
There will be an update later today, and as we get that time, as we solidify that time, we'll release that.
Can you say whether the victims are related to the...
I don't know that information.
Initially, 2 officers were the ones who responded.
There were more than 2, because as the calls became updated and that he was armed with a rifle, so more than 2, because the initial approach was that contact team with 4 to 5 officers.
How much longer will you guys be out here tonight?
We'll be out here several more hours.
Yeah.
Was ShotSpotter involved in this at all?
I don't have any of that information from ShotSpotter or anything like that.
Give any reason what the motive might have been? with the suspect?
No, sir.
Do we
Still
know
too
what
early.
hospital that the officers are at?
They're local hospitals. I don't know specifically which. I know one hospital. There may be more because of just the sheer number of victims. So.
All right. Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.